Would you believe that there are some people who are so progressive that they've decided the right next move, the correct move for them, the next move that is progressive for them is to align with the alt-right and people like Milo Yiannopoulos, people like Ann Coulter, people like Mike Cernovich and Alex Jones. It's best for progressives to align with people like them in order to attack the propaganda machine of mainstream media and the establishment. Like if this was a table that I owned, I'd have to flip this over. I don't own this table. I can't flip this one. You actually have people who have lost the narrative. They have lost the plot so much so that they think that the next move for progressives is for us to align with anti-establishment alt-right people. Let me describe them effectively. They're talking about people who have the Pepe Frog in their avatar. They're talking about people who are extreme men's rights activists. You're talking about people like Mike Cernovich, who literally tweets about white genocide and believes that the mixing of races, white genocide, by definition, is the thought that mixing of races means the destruction of the white community. He literally was a rape apologist, talking about how impossible it is to rape a girl without force. Therefore, I can't even. These are the people that they think that the progressive community should align with just because those people are anti-establishment. Have you lost your goddamn minds? Help me understand. I'm at a loss for words. Because, let's start here. The enemy of your enemy is not always your friend. Sometimes the enemy of your enemy is a ratchet piece of shit. Sometimes your enemy of your enemy is a greater enemy that needs to be destroyed even more so than your initial enemy. There is nothing redeemable about people who don't believe that you can rape a woman. There's nothing redeemable about people who don't believe in the acquisition of justice by the black community and the brown communities. There's nothing redeemable about people who make a living off of making America afraid of Muslims. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But you have some progressives, some people who used to support Bernie Sanders, some people who have gone so far that now they think the appropriate next move is for us to find solidarity with those people. Let me help you. I'm going to say this as professionally as I can. Kiss my black ass. No, there is no solidarity with them. There's no quarter for fascists. There's no quarter for neo-Nazis, proto-fascists. There's no quarter for white supremacists. There's no quarter for people who deny my right to exist. There's no quarter for people who deny the LGBTQ community the right to exist and the right to have the same rights that we have. There's no quarter for people who do not believe that women are oppressed in America, particularly in a gender pay gap. And there is absolutely no quarter for people who think that women aren't really being harassed and they're not being really raped. They're really just, they were angry and they got too drunk. What is wrong with you? The establishment is bad. I've got one of the most robust critiques that I will never let go of the establishment. But you know who's worse than the establishment? You know what's worse than the mainstream establishment? It is the mainstream establishment of the alt-right. Do not let them fool you. They are not anti-establishment. They are just as beholden to power as anyone else. They are simply anti your beliefs. They are anti-progressive. And I don't, partly I say this, not that my audience is big enough to warrant me to say this, but I still feel a responsibility to this because I never fervently spoke out against this as adamantly as I should have time and again since the primaries. I left it alone for the longest because I knew that we needed a thriving left in America. We need a left in America that is not being punched down upon by people like me with platforms. And so sometimes you shut your mouth and you let things slide because sometimes the stupid thing that they're saying isn't as important as a flourishing left. And that's been my paradigm. That's been my belief system for a long time. It is don't critique the left, don't critique and slam leftists and progressives because we don't have a left in America. We don't have a thriving left in America. But now it's gotten to a fever pitch of ridiculousness that people who think that they are progressive are willing, and they think it's only logical, and anyone who disagrees with them, you're really the Nazi, you're the real Nazi. They think that the next best move is for them to align with the alt-right. So, because we are all free moral agents, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do, I will say go ahead, feel free. But why wait? Why hesitate? Why half-ass it? Just go all the way. Be like Cassandra Fairbanks. Be like some of these other people who went directly from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump. Go ahead and go all out. Don't even pretend to be progressive anymore because you're aligning with people who will do everything they can to destroy your political progressive agenda. But you're a free moral agent. You can do whatever you want. And I'll say, Godspeed, best of luck to you. But now, I'm going to do whatever I want. And what I want to do and what needs to be done in this instance is anyone who thinks that it is reasonable for progressives to align with the alt-right is not a friend of progressivism. They are a threat to progressivism. They will undermine. They are literally giving ammunition to neoliberals. They are literally giving voice to the Democratic establishment that has been saying this is who they are all along. Do you realize you are fulfilling the prophecy of people like Joy-Ann Reid, who at one time I liked, but now I can't, like she works my nerves, especially with she works my nerves, but you're literally fulfilling her prophecy saying that the alt-right and the alt-left are two of the same, opposite side of the same coin. You are literally proving the people that we've been fighting against for the longest, you're proving them right. And you're proving them right at the expense of the most marginalized communities. That's what is the insult to injury. The most marginalized communities the most marginalized communities will always be at the mercy of of people, groups like the alt-right who want to destroy them, who don't, and they not only want to destroy them, but they don't recognize one bit any of the oppression that they suffer. In fact, they are the perpetuators of the oppression that many of these marginalized groups suffer. And so your fantasies of destroying the media establishment and your fantasies of destroying the political establishment is coming, sure, at the expense, though, of the most marginalized communities. Therefore, feel free. You do whatever you want. I can't tell you what to do, but what I can tell you is that if you align with them, I'm sorry, not if, just the mere fact that you think that that's a viable option means that you are not a friend of progressivism. Therefore, we need to fight you just as hard as we fight conservatives. We need to fight you just as hard as we fight neoliberalism. We need to fight you just as hard as we fight anyone else because you are destructive to progressivism. There is no aligning with these people. There is no aligning with people who do not see the problems and the oppression and don't have any empathy for the most marginalized groups in America.